E3 of 2021 has come and passed, and honestly, I'm excited for some of the games that got shown off. I know it was kind of lackluster, but last year we didn't even have an E3, so to have an E3 this year is a kind of a step in the right direction, and I am really excited about the whole thing. And I didn't really know how I wanted to make content on E3. I didn't know if I wanted to make videos on each conference, and I kind of waited too long as I was working on my Pathos review. If you didn't check that out, go check that out. I'm working on my next review now. I'm finishing up my second game. Then I'm going to be doing that. Hopefully, we'll get it out the week after this video, but that's not what this video is about, so I won't give you any spoilers or anything. We'll just have to wait and see what that video is going to be. This one, however, is going to be a game on my top 10 list of games that were announced or talked about at E3 2021. So I have I have a list of 10 games in no order that we're going to kind of go through, and I'm going to explain why I'm excited for them and talk about kind of like little things here and there as to why I want to play them or why I'm excited for said series, and kind of my hopes and dreams for each game that's on the list. And then I have like a 6 or 7 honorable mentions that I'll probably talk about at the end of the video because I won't spend as much time on each one, but I am really excited for them. They just weren't talked about at E3 or shown off really. If they were, then I didn't see them at all, and I watched most of the conferences, so I'm not really sure how exactly I'm gonna go through this, but we'll go through a game one by one. I also want to know maybe give me like your top 5 list from E3. Were you excited about E3? What was your favorite conference? Are you excited about gaming in general? I finally got my hands on an Xbox One S, an Xbox Series S, so I'll be able to play some of the Xbox exclusives that are on this list whenever they drop. I'll also just have a brand new console to play games upscaled, and any new third-party games that come out, or any Xbox One games that are like Sunset Overdrive that I currently can't play because I don't have an Xbox One or a Series X or S. I'll be able to give those a shot too with Game Pass, so I'm super hype about that. But let's get into the list. This list starts with a goodie. We're starting with Elden Ring. So this game actually didn't technically drop at E3. It dropped at Summerfest, which is like the E3 of 2020, the thing that they did instead of E3. And then they brought it back as its like separate little thing, and it stayed around. I'm not really sure. I don't know all the details. There's 1,000 videos about it on YouTube that you can watch and get all of the details. I'm not the person to give them to you, obviously, as I'm not great at giving details, especially about things of that nature. But Elden Ring, the world was created by George R.R. Martin. George R.R. Martin. Yes, that George R.R. Martin, the one that made Game of Thrones. The one who hasn't finished Game of Thrones, mind you. But, you know, he's the world builder of Westeros. One of my all-time favorite worlds ever created, besides for, like, Elder Scrolls. I think the world building and the character structure and the way that the world is laid out and the way that Westeros, and off the top of my head, I can't remember the other, world, the eastern world. For some reason I always want to call it Easteros, and I know that's wrong. So we're just, let's make a meme about it. Yeah. But the cool thing about this game is I am not a fan of Soulsborne games, or FromSoft games. I don't know what they call them anymore after they released Sekiro. But as of recently, I did pick up Sekiro. I picked up Dark Souls Remastered. I picked up Dark Souls 3, and I have Dark Souls 2. The only game I don't technically have is Bloodborne or Demon Souls, the original one or the remake, because I don't have a PS5, and I just don't feel like playing the original. I'd rather play the one that came out on the PS5, After the first trailer came out, I believe it was either last year or the year before, where they had that super cinematic trailer that kind of reminded me of a mixture of like Lord of the Rings and Dark Souls and maybe a little bit of Game of Thrones thrown in there, kind of here and there. And the second trailer showing some gameplay. It's the first open world From Software game, and I'm curious to see if it's gonna be like linear, in terms of like you have to go do each boss in a certain way. I'm hoping that it's gonna be more like Breath of the Wild or like the first Elder Scrolls game, where they're like, okay, So maybe you do like the first like thing you have to do, and then after that point they're like, all right, you know what, now you have to go get these pieces of the ring from these like 12 bosses. You can do it in any order you want to, and then the world will scale with you. That's what I'm hoping for, because I mean, I really want to play Sekiro. I probably won't get into Dark Souls until probably after I beat Elden Ring, because that is a game I'm super stoked for. I haven't decided exactly when or how I'm going to play it, but I am 1000% going to play it, and I'm super pumped about it. George R. R. Martin is a great world builder. He's kind of bad at, you know, staying on track and finishing things on time, but, you know, honestly, yeah, I'm pumped either way, and I'm hoping that you guys are excited about it as I am. And that leads into Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins. So this is like a retelling of Final Fantasy 1, kind of, with a whole lot of chaos, I guess.
Chaos, 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 chaos.
The biggest thing about Final Fantasy Origins is what I'll just call it short terms, that I'm super excited for is apparently it's like a Souls-like game. I don't know how that's going to be implemented, but it's more like a slowed down combat, and I like the combat of Final Fantasy 15, even though, I mean, I only played it for a couple hours. And I haven't played Final Fantasy 7, but I like the combat of the Final Fantasy games, and I'm kind of hoping that the combat of Stranger of Paradise, or Final Fantasy Origins, I should say, is going to follow that, like, that style, but it looks more like, at least from the gameplay that they released, at least that what I could see, is that it feels more like it's just kind of like a hack and slash with some dodging. I don't know. I don't want to say it's like Devil May Cry, because it's not fast enough to be Devil May Cry. It's hard to explain. I'm super excited about it. It looks completely different from a Final Fantasy game, and I'm trying to get into the Final Fantasy universe. Actually, I'll show you something I just picked up. So I just picked up this Final Fantasy manga. It's called Lost Stranger. It's about someone who wants to like write a Final Fantasy book, a Final Fantasy game, I should say, and they get sucked in. I haven't read the first book yet, but I'm super pumped about it, and I think Final Fantasy Origins is going to be a really fun game. I don't think it's going to be like the best Final Fantasy game, and we'll talk about Final Fantasy 16 later, but I am super pumped to play it. Honestly, I'm just super stoked for Final Fantasy Origins. I don't know if it's going to be the game of the year for me or anything, but I am really pumped to play it. And I don't know if you guys are as excited as I am. I know a lot of people weren't really looking forward to the game, but I know I am. So who knows? So the next game we're talking about is Breath of the Wild 2. I have a whole video about that, kind of breaking down the trailer, my excitement for that. I'm not going to talk about it for too long, but I am really, really excited. I'm going to be playing Skyward Sword when it comes out in a few weeks. Also, I'm just a huge fan of Breath of the Wild, as it was my entry point into the Zelda series. I love the mechanics. I love the world. The world of Hyrule in the sky looks amazing. I don't want to spend, like I said, I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but I'm super excited to play that one. Hoping that it comes out in 2022. I'm crossing my fingers, but, you know, sometimes crossing your fingers doesn't really work. So, yeah. Number 4 is Starfield. You know, this is the whole reason I actually want an Xbox One S. When they announced that Starfield was only coming to Xbox and PC, I decided, okay, I'm either going to try and get a really good PC, or I'm going to get a Xbox One S while I save up for a PlayStation 5 and all the big things, because I want to play this game really badly. It says it's going to drop in 2022. I'm hoping that it's going to be polished enough for 2022. Bethesda's been kind of letting me down as of late, and it's been a little sad, I'm not going to lie. Fallout 76 didn't excite me. Fallout 4 was kind of meh. Wasn't my favorite game ever by them. So really the last game I had that I've played that I had a lot of fun with was Skyrim, and that was a long time ago now. I'm hoping that eventually, whenever Starfield does come out, that it's like really polished and it's got a really cool story. It looks like it could be really interesting, maybe exploring a bunch of different worlds. It kind of gave me like super explorative vibes. I'm sure we'll probably come in contact with some aliens. I'm sure that it'll probably end up being really cool with a bunch of factions and some different worlds you have to go to and kind of make alliances. I'm hoping that it's more in line with Skyrim with the quest system. Todd Howard did say it was bigger than Skyrim. I'm imagining, because this is their first game on a new engine. This is their first new RP in like 25 years. I'm really stoked about it. It makes me want to sit down and play a Bethesda game, but I can't play Skyrim again because I think I'll lose my mind. So, Bethesda God, please, please, Xbox, please make a good game. I beg you. If it sucks, I'm going to be really, really sad. Honestly, the game that I'm about to talk about, I wasn't expecting to be into. And I'll explain. I know this is shown off a lot, but here's the part that got me super hyped. All right, are you ready? Are you watching? Are you watching like really hard? Good. Now take it in. Honestly, I can't even tell you why that got me so hyped. I think it was like a combination of the music with the gunshot and the visuals. Like, because I'm not a side-scroller fan. I don't really like side-scroller games. But this one just like, it just hit a sweet spot for me. And I need to play it. I need to play Replaced. It's like, I can't go without playing it. That's another reason why I got an Xbox One S. It's going to be day one Game Pass. I don't even know when it comes out. I'm not even going to look it up. I'm not going to get my hype up at all. I'm just going to one day see it come out, and I'm going to be super stoked about it. Definitely doing a video review on that game, 1000%. That it looked too good not to touch, and honestly, if you're not looking forward to it, honestly, I don't know what you saw, because that game looks phenomenally awesome. I want to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, this game has been very divisive in terms of people that watched the reveal trailer, from the reveal, everything from Square, because some people are really excited, some people aren't. I'm pretty stoked. I think it looks fun. I like the idea of playing as Star-Lord and being the leader of the group and kind of having everyone fight around you. It's not a problem for me. The combat looks a bit stiff, I won't lie, but it looks pretty fun. And the single-player story, it's not a multiplayer like game as a service like the Marvel Avengers game is. And honestly, I can't say anything bad about it yet. I mean, they showed some gameplay. It didn't look too bad for being alpha. It honestly looked like it can be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see like how interacting with your crewmates will change how you do the missions. It's definitely going to be a game for me. Probably I'll wait until I get a PS5. Unless it's available on the Xbox Game Pass, maybe then I'll play it on there. But honestly, I don't know. I kind of want to wait for the PlayStation 5 because I just kind of where I want to play it. But I'll give it a shot. Probably. I still won't play Avengers though. I don't care how many DLC come out for that game. I refuse to play it. I won't. I just won't. Now, the next game, number 7, that I'm talking about on this list is well, it's Skyrim, but Borderlands. So, it's Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So, this game looks amazing. It's like, basically, it's like Tiny Tina and, like, the crew, I think, from Borderlands 3 or something like that. They're playing, like, Dungeons & Dragons. And it's basically, like, you take the world of Borderlands, this, like, gunslinging, post-apocalyptic kinda, but more like alienistic world, and you shove it into a fantasy world with like goblins and skeletons and magic and swords. I'm so excited to play this. The trailers look so fun, and like I love the graphics of the Borderlands games. I have yet to play Borderlands 3. I want to play that eventually as well. But it's like the Borderlands series is like one of my all-time favorites in terms of comedy and just playing. And I played it as of pretty recent. I think I played Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 in 2019. So it's not like I have some long connection to the game series. I'm just super excited. There's not a whole lot of information on the game. But honestly, it's one of my most look forward to games in terms of just some new IP to play, because it's being written by the same people as Borderlands 3. I'm just excited. I think it's going to be a blast. If you're excited for that game specifically, I want to talk to you about it in the comment section below. If you have any information on Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, I need to know. I need to know, so give me it. Give me the information. Give me the information on Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Far Cry 6. So I want to talk about the DLC that got shown off because that's what's got me most hyped. But I also want to say that like every developer, because Ubisoft had their own thing, it was shown off a little bit, I think, at Xbox, if I'm not mistaken. It was also shown off like before E3 even started. And I was going to put it in an honorable mention, but I thought that there was a drop in E3 that was too good to not talk about. And that was the Season Pass drop with all the villains from the original, like the older games. But honestly, the game from Far Cry 6 looks interesting in and of itself, like with Diego, and I don't want to get into too many details because this is a game I'm really excited to play and I kind of want to make a video on. I don't really want to talk about it too long here, but they've shown so much off, but like not really shown anything about the story, and I'm super excited. Far Cry 5 didn't grip me as much as I wanted it to. So the idea that Far Cry 6 is going back to the roots of like with the way that the villains worked in Far Cry 3 and 4, I'm really pumped about that. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with the story, how we're going to interact with Diego, how we're going to liberate this island, like what the choices we're going to have. It makes me want to go back and play Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4. I think I'm definitely going to play at least 4 before we go back, and before 6 comes out in October. It's not too long from now. I'm super stoked though, because the DLC, the Season Pass, dropped this like bombshell where you play as Voss, you play as Pagan Min, and then you play as Joseph Seed. And man, oh man, the gameplay, like the way that the world looked, oh my gosh, dude, it looks so cool. I'm super stoked about Far Cry 6 and the DLC and the fact that they announced Blood Dragon, maybe like a remaster, maybe it's just a port, I don't know, maybe they're making a sequel to Blood Dragon. That would be sick. If you have not played Far Cry 3, you must play Far Cry 3. Like right after this video ends, go buy the game on your PlayStation 4, your Xbox One, go buy it for your 360. I don't care, play the game. It's too good to not play it. You need to play it, 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 and then come talk to me about Far Cry. I feel like I'm gonna lose you guys on this one. So my number 9 pick is Forza Horizon 5. So I am a massive car guy. Not like, okay, that makes it sound like I really like cars. I'm a massive car video game guy. I love racing games. I don't know why, because it's not like I love single player driven stories and I love racing games. It's like two of them are so different from each other. But the thing about racing games is they're really soothing. Like my favorite my two favorite apps of the past like 5 years that I played are Forza Horizon 3, the one set in Australia, and then The Crew 2, which is set in all of the United States. And the reason I like The Crew 2 is because you can literally drive the whole country, go from California to New York, go down to Miami. You can drive through a bunch of major cities, and it's super cool. Me and my friends used to drive around. We used to have like makeshift races and like some really cool stuff in that game. The story mode was really fun as well, unlocking all the races and doing the cars. And Forza Horizon 3 felt the same way. I got to race a bunch of my friends. We had a bunch of fun playing around in the open world. It was a huge map. And I'm really pumped to play Forza Horizon 5 because the graphics look really, really nice. And honestly, what they showed off in the trailer was some of the the murals and the world and the way that the particle effects work with the mud and the water. It looks beautiful. It looks gorgeous, and I cannot wait. I'm it's been a long time because I didn't play Forza Horizon 4. I sold my Xbox One, and I never played Forza Horizon 4. And I'm ready to play Forza Horizon 5. I'm very much so ready to play Forza Horizon 5. And my number 10 game that got me really hyped was a game that I haven't even played the original, and that's Plague Tale Requiem. So the original is Plague Tale Innocence. I have yet to play the game. I really want to play the game. It's been on my list for a long time, to be honest. And Plague Tale Requiem, the trailer looked like maybe there's more combat. The story looks really dope. It looks really cool. I honestly, I don't really have a lot of words in terms of just how excited I am, because I haven't played the original. It just piqued my interest because there's a lot of stealth. There's a lot of puzzles, and it's a story about a sister and her brother. and I want to play the first one. I'm gonna hold back a lot of my words until I play that one. Expect a game review on Plague Tale Innocence eventually as well, because that's definitely gonna happen. I'm gonna do like not like a deep dive, but depending on if I like the game, that is. But right now it's gonna be cemented in my last spot of the top 10. I don't really want to call it a top 10. My 10 most anticipated games. That's what I'll call this. My 10 most anticipated games. So that's my top 10 list for games that were shown off at E3. To be fair, I don't think I would change it. Not off the top of my head anyways, but I am going to have some honorable mentions. And I'm going to go through these pretty fast because I've already been recording for 23 minutes. And there's not going to be a whole lot of editing in this because it's just me rambling. So I don't want to ramble for too long. So the game list goes like this. In the order that I wrote them down and remember them, there are... it's Black Myth Wukong, which is a game that looks insane. They dropped gameplay like earlier this year. They dropped like a cinematic trailer, then they dropped gameplay. The gameplay looks sick. Every time you beat like a mini boss and the boss, you absorb their powers and you can use them against other enemies. And the gameplay with the dodging and the combat looks insane. I cannot wait for that game to come out. It from YouTube, from whenever you put the game, whenever you go to the gameplay trailer and you scroll down, it says that it's slated for 2023 and it's a PlayStation exclusive. I imagine it's probably going to be PS5 exclusive, but I don't know for sure, so yeah. The next game is Lost Soul Aside. This game is apparently a love child from like a huge fan of DMC and Final Fantasy, and those are two series I don't really play. But Lost Soul Aside looks sick. It's another game that they just released 18 minutes of gameplay of, and it's actually a game that was started by one guy in China. He developed like a bunch of the game by himself, and he's built a team over the years. And I think that game is getting slated to release pretty soon because a lot of it looks insanely dope, and I can't wait to play that game. I'm actually playing a game right now. I'm not going to say which one because I think that'll give things away. But I'm playing a game right now because I want to see why this person likes Devil May Cry and Final Fantasy so much. And you'll see why probably pretty soon. Next game is Horizon Forbidden West. That's a pretty easy one. It comes out this year. Horizon Zero Dawn is one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 4, and with all the added like combat and the graphics, the way the game looks, even if I don't get my hands on a PlayStation 5, I will 1000% be playing that game on my PlayStation 4 because I'm getting it day one no matter what game console I have to buy it on. I will be playing that game on day one no matter how I make it work because I will probably die if I don't get to play it. Because I'm too excited. I'm really glad God of War got pushed to 2022 because I'm hoping I'll have a PlayStation 5 by that point and I can play that game on it. But honestly, I don't know. Horizon looks sick. I can't wait for that. I actually have my full reaction. If there's like me reacting really cool to the gameplay, maybe I'll put it here. I don't know. Maybe if you see something cool. The next game that I was expecting to see something on was Pokemon Legends Arceus. And they didn't show anything. I wasn't really expecting them to talk about the Diamond and Pearl remakes, but I was expecting something on Pokemon Legends because with them announcing the date in January, I think it's the 28th, I was expecting them to show another trailer, but I'm sure we'll probably see something within the next few months, like an updated gameplay trailer to kind of quell the doubts of the game because they showed alpha footage and everyone thinks it's the final game for whatever reason. I don't know. That's a game I'm super stoked for. Whenever we get like a trailer or something, I'll probably talk about it more. But for right now, we really only got the announcement, which still has me hella hyped, and I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. Me and my friend actually Noah on screen, probably right now. I'll put him next to my face somewhere. We have a trip planned, or we're planning a trip, I should say. We're going to try and get the game in New York when it comes out. So that's going to be something really cool, and I'm pumped about it. We have 2 games left. I'll talk about, let's talk about the Demon Slayer game first. So it's the Demon Slayer, the Hinokami, I think it's Hinokami Chronicles. It spans like, I think for the first season of the anime and the movie, the Mugen Train movie, and I'm so stoked. They released some gameplay and how the whole campaign's gonna work, and I can't wait to play it. I think it's gonna be an interesting like mix of third-person action with actual fights. With like the boss fights will be like actual fights. And I'm a fan of the Storm series. I like the combat in the Storm series, so I'm super stoked about that. Not a lot to talk about. It's just a game. I'm 1000 gonna play it. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm probably gonna do fights. Maybe I'll do some cool videos on the channel about it. Maybe we'll even do a let's play of it. Haven't decided yet. I'm talking to a couple people about some things. But yeah, Demon Slayer looks awesome. And then we got Final Fantasy 16. So this was shown off last year. This reveal trailer got me super stoked to play Final Fantasy. I had Final Fantasy 15 in my collection for a while, as well as Final Fantasy 13, but I didn't really touch either of them for whatever reason. I don't even know why I bought them, to be fair. I thought I was going to play them, and I never did. But Final Fantasy 16, with like, it's kind of like high medieval stuff, and like the music, and just like the way that the main character looks, and like his abilities, the way that he acts, I'm super stoked. It looks like a return to like the medieval style games for Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy 13 and 15 were like really high future. And I'm really pumped. It's getting me really excited. I want to play Final Fantasy 15 the whole way through. I want to see if it's a game I like. I know a lot of people don't like it for whatever reason. I also want to play the Final Fantasy 7 remake. Those are 2 games on my list. Like I said, I literally showed you earlier. I pulled up the comic. I pulled up the manga that I bought because I really want to get into the Final Fantasy world. So we'll see what game does it for me, whether or not I play Final Fantasy Origins or 15 or 16 or 13, or I read the manga, or maybe I'll play 14. I don't know, but I will get into the series eventually. Hi. So this is a note from the editor, because there were 2 games I completely forgot to talk about, and I'm going to make this really fast because the video is almost a half an hour long. So the first one is Kena, Bridge of Spirits. It's a PS4, PS5 exclusive game that I'm super stoked on. It kind of gives me like Breath of the Wild, Zelda vibes, as well as like a Pixar film. I'm really pumped to play it. It comes out in August. It's one of my like most anticipated PlayStation games, and I can't believe I didn't talk about it in the video. And the second game that I completely forgot to talk about was Hogwarts Legacy. I love Harry Potter. I watch the movies every year around Christmas time, and honestly, I'm super stoked to like live a new journey in the universe and kind of understand a little bit more. And it's set in like the same time period as Fantastic Beasts, so I can't wait to see how they like intertwine, maybe at least hopefully a little bit. Okay, now that we did that, back to video Tanner. And that's my list of 10 games from E3 that I'm super stoked about. With a bunch of honorable mentions that they didn't talk about at E3, but I'm still really excited about, that are coming out relatively soon. Barring God of War, because they haven't shown anything off besides the title. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. This one's, I was going to say short, but it's probably still 26 minutes probably. So I don't want to keep going for too long, but thank you guys for watching. If you did, make sure you drop your top 5, top 10, top 1, top 6. If you only liked one game, if you didn't like E3 at all, let me know in the comment section below. And I will see you guys back here on the next video, hopefully another review. If not, you'll see my pretty face. Also, I'm in another competitive Pokemon League, so if you want to watch that and watch me get my butt beat, then those are for you. So I'll catch you guys next time on another video. Bye. I love video games.